across the fence, the winners of the 2018 Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year. We'll meet this Franklin County family and find out what makes their farm the best of the best. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We've been telling you all year how 2018 is a bad time to be a dairy farmer. But today we have some good news. Despite tough times, many Vermont dairy farmers are staying the course. They're making prudent financial decisions and keeping their fingers crossed that the milk check will increase sooner than later. For the Thompson and Atherton families of Ayers Hill Farm in Berkshire, 2018 will be remembered as both a challenge and a triumph. Ayers Hill Farm is the 2018 Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year. Here's Across the Fence associate producer Keith Silva with our story.
About 100 yards from the Canadian border, down a dirt road in Berkshire, stands Ayers Hill Farm.
I'm 37. I'll be 38 in August, and this is home. It's where I've always been.
Karie Atherton is the 7th generation to farm here, but she's the first in her family to win the Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year award.
We're not one for the spotlight, so this is a very humbling honor for sure. And we've never been like, look at us. That's just not our nature. And we're on a dead-end road, so that's kind of more how we are, more reserved. Bull-matics come in Wednesday, and we'll get the collars all running then.
Atherton manages 550 acres and milks 200 cows. She gets some of her help running the farm from her dad, Orlyn Thompson, and his brother Bernie. The Thompson brothers have farmed here since 1974. Orlyn is mostly retired from the day-to-day operations. Bernie's not ready to retire yet. He remains a part owner with Karie. Both Thompsons are happy Karie's calling the shots.
It's almost more enjoyable now than it was because you don't have to do it. You know, I feel like I do, but you don't have to. You know, it's more just, it's in you. You got to keep doing it.
Karie's a lot like I am, I guess.
How so?
I say she's stubborn and hard-headed. But she's very, she's conservative, and she's reasons things out, maybe to a fault sometimes. Probably in 5-10 years you get over some of that. You lose that, you know. Everything's not perfect. You can't have everything perfect all the time.
Not perfect would be a polite way to describe what it's like to be a dairy farmer in 2018. The price paid to farmers for their milk is the lowest it's been in nearly 10 years. For many Vermont dairy farmers, the cost of production and the milk check are neck and neck. What is it like to be a dairy farmer in 2018?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I mean, the days are, you always have more good days than bad for sure. This has been I took over in 2014, and the beginning of the 2014, they had the highest milk price ever, and then after I took over, it steadily went down for 4 years and stayed there. I'm hoping that it goes up, and there's a lot of stress. You know, I keep the books and everything, and my mom keeps saying, you know, let somebody else do it, but I need to know what everything costs. I need to see at the end of the day, what does the checkbook look like? Milk prices always go up and they always go down, and you gotta save when they go down so you can come out the other side.
It's a struggle. You know, it's still, like I said, it's in your blood. You're gonna, no matter how, you're gonna go as long as you can go. You know, I mean, you're proud to be a dairy farmer. At least I am, you know, proud to be a dairy farmer. We've been through these bad times before, more than once, and probably will go through more of them, you know. You just keep going.
Times are tough for Vermont's dairy farmers. But as the saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Instead of holding back, Atherton is investing in the farm's most important asset, the cows.
Dad's always believed in cow health, and I followed right behind him on that. Even though money's been tight lately, you can't jip on the cow end because it's going to cost you big time on the other end.
Atherton put down $40,000 to buy tracking collars for the cows. She received an additional $40,000 grant from the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board to complete the purchase.
So each cow has their own collar, their own number, and it goes right to the computer in the office and even eventually will be to my phone. So it's going to track her activity 24 hours a day, and it will send me alerts saying this cow's off one way or another, she's off. And then it's up for me to go in and take her temp, see what her problem is. In the end, it will save you money, because when a cow goes off feed, it's really you're going to lose production, and she may never come back to her original production before she got sick or had a sore foot or whatever. So if you can catch that sooner and start acting on it quicker, her turnaround time is going to be that much more efficient for her and for us.
Atherton expects the return on investment on the collars to take about 3 years. The collars will tie in with the cameras that she had installed a few years ago to keep track of her animals.
I'm not up and hang out and have coffee at the house. I grab my chocolate milk and head to the barn, and before I get here, I've already checked my phone for the cameras to see, okay, do we have a fresh heifer? Do we have cows in heat? I can see all that before I even get to the barn. You're never going to master this trade, so everything's related to technology now. We haven't put any money into our buildings per se. So this is something on the cow end where I don't think we can go wrong. And when the prices hopefully do turn around, then that's when our buildings are going to start getting attention.
If cow health is number 1 at Ayers Hill Farm, protecting the environment is 1A. The Thompson brothers were early adopters of cover cropping to improve soil health. They dug ditches to curb runoff and built fences to keep animals out of the brook that flows through the farm. Orlyn believes improvements like these are a matter of common sense. Would you say this farm runs by common sense?
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never thought of it that way, but yeah. I've never, I guess not all, because I'm only part of this deal, but to me, it's the way it should be done. If you take care of the land, it'll take care of you. You should leave the world better, leave this place better than when you took it.
From investing in the cows to protecting their farmland, this family always has an eye to the future. So when it came time to transfer part of the ownership to Karie, the family had to ask themselves some tough questions about the future of the farm.
When you look at the finances, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work. It simply did not work. If I tried to outright buy the farm, I'd be belly up in 2 years. It wasn't going to work. We're a medium farm, and 200 cows is not where you want to be. You read any magazine, any book, or talk to anybody that's in ag, and 200 cows is that's usually where you fail. We're not big enough, or yet we're too big. We're right in the middle of not working normally, but we've made it work, and I think it's because we keep pushing for the efficient part, getting everything that we can out of what we have.
Being as efficient as possible only takes a farm business so far. The Thompson brothers' shrewd fiscal habits left the farm with almost no debt. But even then, the family had to keep talking and working out every detail for the transfer and for the farm to survive.
Financially, we, I guess, are conservative. We don't owe a lot. So we were able to do it in a different way. And then you got to have trust is probably one of your bigger features.
There's still discussions to this day. I mean, it's not settled yet. And you want to see them. They work their whole lives for this. And and I'm very proud to follow in their footsteps and be able, they built this, and I'm only here because of what they did. They've supported me through all this, and I, in return, support them. Otherwise, we'd have to sell the farm for them to retire, and nobody really wanted that. I paid the living expenses and a little extra. The best the farm can do, and they get paid before the grain bill gets paid. That's the deal.
Karie takes a small salary, and she's supported by her husband, Nick. He provides off-farm income and helps out with free labor when Karie needs a hand on the farm or with their daughter, Maggie.
I had the opportunity to work with this farm a few years ago and have...
Tony Kitsos was a consultant on the family's farm transfer. He also chairs the committee that selects the Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year.
In order to be in this business, you need to have passion and persistence, and those two qualities stood right out in Karie and Orlyn and Bernie. They have the passion to be here. That's evidenced by how long this family has been farming here, the persistence, but Karie's passion for her cows, just when she was talking to the judges about what it is that she's doing, all the things she's emphasizing, the judges pick up on that and they think, boy, you know, that's the same passion that the previous winners had for their dairies.
Karie, Orlyn, and Bernie are proud and humbled to receive this award from their peers, and they'll celebrate their achievement. But this is not a family who rests on their laurels.
This is as much about the Thompsons as it is about Karie Atherton.
Oh, I think it's more about the Thompsons. This is, you know, I'm 7th generation Thompson. I'm 1st generation Atherton. I love what I do, and, you know, am I doing this for me? No. I'm doing it for the 8th generation, and that's the plan. I'm hoping, you know, we've got, I've lost track now because my sister just had another baby, 10 or 11, 12, something like that, grandkids my parents have, and I'm hoping that one of them or 2 of them can come in and take this over. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm doing it.
Nothing's easy. It's just if you want to do it. I know she's doing it for the next generation, and you can't plan on anything. I mean, you plan, but don't expect it to go according to plan. Hopefully things will turn out good.
It's still a good life. Even if you got to go down there and milk every day, it's still a good life. If you were doing it for the money, you'd have got out a long time ago. You know, you do it because you enjoy doing it, I guess. Yep.
Everybody contributed, really. That's what the whole family's about, I guess. Everybody had a goal, and the goal is to let the farm succeed.
Dedication, trust, and family. That's the Thompsons and the Athertons, the 2018 Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year. In Berkshire, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Our congratulations again to Karie Atherton and Orlyn and Bernie Thompson of Ayers Hill Farm, the winner of the 2018 Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year. Well, Tony Kitsos has joined me here in the studio to talk a little bit more about this award and this year's winners. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Judy.
Now, you don't select the winner of this award all by yourself. How does it work?
So the award is part of the New England Green Pastures Award, where each of the 6 New England states select their Dairy Farm of the Year. Vermont is supported by the Green Pastures Program, UVM Extension, the Agency of Agriculture, and the Vermont Dairy Industry Association Board. Mm-hmm. And financially, they contribute a little bit of money. They help us get the program going, and judges are past the past year's winners.
And so Karie wasn't the only woman nominated this year. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, correct. It's pretty interesting. This year, 3 of the 4 farms were predominantly led by women. A single mom, a mother-daughter combination that had just a wonderful Jersey herd, and of course Karie, who is buying her way into the farm through some of gifting and looking at taking over her uncle's share, so that she's the one who runs the show there.
And so as older farmers retire, are more women taking over day-to-day operations of farms?
Yeah, we see that a lot. You know, there's nothing says that it has to be gender specific. It used to be a sort of a male-dominated profession, but you know what it really comes down to is, do you have the passion to do what it is that you're doing? And especially in dairy farming, like you said, to be challenged with the price of milk these days, it really does take that passion.
And so is not having a lot of debt sort of a key to being a successful dairy farmer?
Yeah, it can be, or the wise use of debt, to understand how the money that you borrow should bring in not only that money what you borrowed, but a little bit additional, so that it enhances your bottom line. But you know, some farms, because of this prolonged milk price drought that we're in, has really had to dip into savings, dip into equity, and things don't turn around quick. That debt could ultimately be their demise.
So when do nominations for the 2019 Dairy Farmer of the Year start?
They're starting right now. Once we get the announcement put out today, we're always taking in nominations for the coming year's award.
And so what are you hearing about farmers about what they're doing to sort of ride out this latest milk crisis?
So they're doing what they can by sitting down with all of their vendors, really being essential understanding about is what I'm buying what I need to be buying, because if it isn't, there's just not enough money to go around to pay for those things that they don't need. They're working closely with their lenders to extend lines of credit so that they can keep their bills paid. And I know a lot of activity went on this spring with farmers so they could get this year's crops in the ground, those types of things.
Mm-hmm. And so is this year worse than last year or 2009 when prices were low again?
Yeah, it's kind of like this recent heat wave that we've been through. You can take 3 or 4 days of it and then it really starts to wear on you. And in low milk prices, you can take a year or 2 of it, but once you get into year 3 and year 4, it really drains your finances down and your resiliency. So we're hoping that the price of milk turns around here in the next year. Bring things back.
Yeah. Tony, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
That's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.